We also need to look at, and very importantly, too, technology. Technology is so important because even the first country that developed, we have all heard in the world that UK, United Kingdom, Great Britain, became developed, advanced very fast during and after the Industrial Revolution. And it is so historical, you have always had Industrial Revolution. And they say, where did it start? It started from UK, Great Britain. The Industrial Revolution happened in Great Britain and was associated with and by technology. So technology has been important, that we hear even in history that they are saying that countries that were technologically advanced conquered and colonized others. The Europeans, the British, the Spaniards, they managed to conquer and domineer and dominate the world because of technology. One, they could travel on water. They had transport on water to reach very distant countries. You have heard that Vasco da Gama came from all Europe and went all the way through South Africa, went all the way to the West. You have had others who traveled to different places. But also you heard that the continents, the countries in South America or Latin America and Africa were colonized because the white man, the traditional white man, had the gun and gunpowder. With a small group of only 600 people, including porters and some escorts and some carriers and the rest, the Spanish were able to conquer a whole kingdom of Aztecs in Latin America. Partly it was Mexico and the other part, which had more millions of people. They conquered them. They even killed their king, humiliated their king and killed him, and took over that country because they had a better equipment at fighting when that kingdom were using sticks, maybe bows and arrows if they had them. So these are the key agreed aspects that the global, if you want to develop, you need them. Initial conditions, leadership and institutions, human capital, physical capital, but you also have technology, but also you have what we call the role of the state. And we'll discuss it in the next episode, that countries that developed, the government was important. The government supported industries, the government supported factories, the government supported development, and those countries developed. But we have another part. There are other factors, there are other issues that they have always been saying we are responsible and are responsible for prosperity and for development of countries. But not everybody is agreed on these ones. One of them is geography. You know, there has been this saying, and sometimes people think it is even racism, where they say that countries which are in the tropics are poor because of their weather, and that countries which are in the temperate parts of the world are rich because of their weather. And also, with regard to also location, people think that countries that are in the tropics, that they get a lot of disease, they die a lot. Sometimes they even claim they are lazy because they don't have hard winter and hard summer. In these countries, the change in weather is only through precipitation, but not actual changes in weather patterns and seasons. We will look at that in the next episode. This was just introduction and summary, but also in geography, I want to mention that people say, therefore, your location determines whether your country or the people living there will be rich or poor. This is a big discussion we have to look at, because we find that there are some countries in places which could be regarded as where poor people live, but there are people who are rich, and some countries are rich. They could be few, but they are there. So I think geography or location should be combined with good leadership, and you have the right product. There are three last things I want to say. History. There has been this argument that you see history, your history as a country will determine whether your country will be poor, whether your country will be developed, where your country will grow. For some countries in the world, there is sad history about it. African countries, countries in Latin America were colonized. Some were subjected to slave trade and slavery, and they used their people to provide free labor when these countries in other places were developing. So that is the sad history. But history should not entomb people forever in poverty. We need to move beyond that. And then there is an argument, and there are other arguments, that culture is important for developing of countries. That is also not agreed, because we know people have different cultures, and different people in different parts of the world with different cultures have developed. The American culture is different from the Japanese culture, the Chinese culture. The Japanese are now developed, the Americans are now developed, the Chinese have developed, Koreans have developed, UK and Europe are developed, and different parts are developed. Singapore is developed, Taiwan is developed, and others are coming up. A few countries, even in the continent of Africa, which has always been condemned, they are developing, they are advancing, and some will be developed soon. So I think culture, others have even said ethnicity, that some countries in Asia and Africa and Latin America, they are always at war because of their culture, because of many ethnicities. Communities, different communities. You find in one country there are 20 communities speaking different languages, that they are prone to fight. But we realize it is not ethnicity, it is not culture, it is not tribe, it is leadership. And we will discuss this in the next episode. Ladies and gentlemen watching me everywhere you are in the world, I invite you to always watch our show on Friday, because we will be bringing you these discussions that are important to you and me.